Recording in progress.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call for the record. Mayor Lindsay.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Howe.
Here.
Councilor Crane.
Here.
Councilor Weeks.
Here.
And Councilor Humber.
Here.
We have a quorum. You may proceed.
This time I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to requests and responses from the audience. We have two folks that would like to speak this evening. First up, Peggy Trott.
Good evening. First of all, sorry, this is what I have. Jim is celebrating. So, first of all, I want to say thank you very much for all you do for the village. It's a thankless job to be a village officer, but my Jim and I and our family, we appreciate your work. Thank you very much. And secondly, excuse my appearance, but I just came in from the golf course. But it was a good day because I didn't kill Jim and Jim didn't kill me. Now, the third thing that I want to address is, could someone please tell me the guidelines and regulations for the off-road vehicles on our public streets? They are racing up and down Country Club Drive. Over the weekend, I actually observed some kids. It was one vehicle, 2 kids in the front, 2 kids in the back, and 3 kids hanging on the back, from them. And aside from the noise, which is one thing, the other, I just really didn't want to have to pick up their bodies on the 4th of July. So I just wondered, who do we go to, and what are the regulations for the off-road vehicles? And I see where you can rent the vehicles, but how do you get them from the rental place to the trails? So if they're off-road. So that's all.
So I can answer both of those. So Chief Hogrefe in the back, he would be the gentleman that can give you all the information. We have clear written policy on the off-road vehicles. So obviously the things that you've stated are infractions to that policy, so it's a matter of enforcement, just like with anything else.
Mhm.
But he can give you a full detailed rundown on that. And as far as the rental places, I know that one, if not both of them, trailer when
I
a
was
rental to the National Forest.
And I was just curious.
Sure.
That was just a curiosity question. All right, now I know who to talk to, and I will talk to the chief afterwards. So once again, thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Okay, and then I have next up Bob Brown.
Is it okay if I stand here, if I talk real loud? Because I need to address probably some of these guys back here.
If you don't mind the podium, just because it is being recorded, we have a camera up here as well.
He's on the camera, he's fine.
Okay, oh, I can see it. Yeah, you're good there.
Okay, I'm Bob Brown, my wife is Deborah. We've owned property here since 2006. I've known BJ since he actually had hair, which about 2007 or 8 when I first met BJ. In fact, my son and daughter-in-law were married in the church that Peggy was serving at that time. It's been several years ago. The reason I'm here is to say thank you to the council. Thank you to these guys back here. Since 2006, we came to Angel Fire every summer for 4.5 months. And it was pretty much always the same. Not much changed. It was just the same. I noticed about 18 months ago, maybe 2 years ago, improvements started being made. Things started progressing. More and more activities were being provided for young people, young couples. Saturday afternoon, we ran into BJ and his wife at the music festival, and BJ made the comment, "You're getting some new roads around your property," which we live up on Snowfire. And I said, well, that's nice. It sure beat the dust in the dirt from where those roads were dug up. He said, we're gonna get some new roads, and I thought, well, that's great. Monday, they started laying the pavement. And all those roads are fantastic. I tell you, it's wonderful. And so I texted BJ and I said, BJ, asphalt is being laid and roads are taking place. And he immediately texted back and said, thank you, but it was a team effort. And that's one point I wanted to make. Your mayor didn't take credit. He said this is a team effort, getting these roads put in, the improvements that are being made in the community. And so that tells me a lot about BJ. He doesn't want the credit. He wants his team to take part in the credit. And I think all of you guys back here and all you people up here are the team. So my wife and I say thank you for these roads, but we're not naive enough to think those roads are for us. They are for this community. They make this community nicer. And I think as a tourist community, which Angel Fire is, the most important thing that you want when young couples come and spend their money, when they leave to go home and they hit that blinking light, I think you probably want them saying to each other, man, we got to come back to Angel Fire. This is a neat community. There's things to do besides golf and downhill bike and ski. There's lots of other things that have been implemented that my wife and I see, because we're gone 8 months a year. Most of you are here year-round, so you don't really see it as much as a stranger that's only here 4 months a year coming back seeing. But we see what you're trying to do and doing, and we appreciate it. Angel Fire is a wonderful place. Like I say, we've been here since 2006, so I can't speak for this entire community. I can speak for my wife and I, but we like what we see. And I was telling BJ that my dad served on the city council and then as mayor of the small community that I grew up in. And he would come home, and I was grown at the time, but he and I would go and have coffee, and he would say, Bob, I'm so disappointed. We have worked so hard to do these great things for our little community, a town of 3,000 people in North Central Texas, and nobody appreciates it. Well, I, for one, want to be able to say thank you for what you're doing, the improvements you're making, and for what you guys back here do, making this a safe place to come visit and live in. That's what I have.
Thank you, sir.
If y'all don't mind. Thank you, BJ. I hope I'm not being too informal. I guess I should have called you Mr. Mayor.
You're fine. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Mr. Mayor.
Well, that's it for request and response from the audience. We'll move on to announcements and proclamations by the council. Anybody have anything this evening? With that, we'll move right into staff reports. And up first this evening is our tourism director, Greg Rao.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, esteemed council, Manager Ware. As I was preparing to get checking my notes to see what we've done in the last month to update you guys on what we've been up to, I came upon my report that I did to the same village council on July 11th last year. Last year, 1 year ago right now, we were working on an RFP for ad agency services. We were hiring an events and visitor center staff. We were building an event schedule, including expanding Balloons Over Angel Fire to a 2-week or a 10-day event. And we were developing a communications plan. Most of those things we can check off. We're still working on a lot of them, but we've got some progress. Father's Day weekend, we saw about 5,500 people attend Balloons Over Angel Fire. That is based on the fact we parked over 1,600 cars in the 3-day period, 3.4 people per car. About 5,500 people came to Balloons Over Angel Fire. It was a great weekend. The membership weekend followed. The town hall was very well received. We got some great feedback on village projects, on things moving forward. Got some good community engagement. Felt that was a great thing that helped us unify the community around the future of Angel Fire. Then we stepped into the last weekend, Independence Day weekend. We opened our new Mountain View Event Center venue. It was well received. over 1,100 people attended on Friday and more than 1,500 people on Saturday. It was a pretty good turnout, not too, couple flaws here and there. We've learned some things, we've got some things to work on, but we're making the improvements so we can put out quality events in this valley. None of this stuff would have happened, back to the team, without a lot of help from Brandon Prather and Kurt Epler. Brandon was hired as our events manager, like I said in the earlier recap, and he has been working like a dog to get that facility done. Things coming at him all the time, changes, missing deadlines, but we got it done. Kurt and his team, the roads department, public works, water, everybody that came out there and did our development for our visitors, our Mountain View Event Center, was phenomenal. The public loved it. The parking we have out there, everything we have out there, really stepped it up. So thank you to everybody, again, on that team that helped us get everything together. This coming weekend, we have Blues Fest, another big event. It's Friday, 2 bands, starting at 5, second band at 7, and then four breweries will be in attendance this weekend. And then Saturday features 3 bands highlighted by the fabulous Thunderbirds. Expecting good crowds for both those events. I'm hoping to see 3,000 people on Saturday. My numbers may be a little high, but I've got to have something to shoot for. The following weekend, we've got Damn Tall Buildings playing Cool Summer Nights, so we've got another national band, so hopefully we've got some good traffic build these shows. And then July 26th, 27th is the Skate Fest event with Homeboy Sandman. Not an artist I'm familiar with, but he is opening for the Avett Brothers at Red Rock, so must have some national following. Again, thank you to the council, to finance, to public works, to everybody else who's allowed us to get these things done. I don't have an ad performance report for you this month. I will have one for next month. Any questions for me?
You just gotta order more candy for the parade now.
The parade got bigger too.
The parade.
The parade grew. Everything seems to be on a growth curve, so we're handling it. Thanks.
Thank you, Director Ralph. Up next is our Public Works Director, Kurt Epler.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Clerk Strickland, Manager Weir. Update from Public Works, from the Streets Department. As we heard earlier, paving has started yesterday. At this point, they've completed Aspen Street. They've completed South Angel Fire Road from intersection with North Angel Fire Road, Bill Burgess Boulevard, to the intersection with Squaw Valley. And they're starting to work the rest of South Angel Fire Road. They are on track to finish all the paving this week. The last road to be paved out of those on task will be Jackson Hole. But I expect with the pace that they're running with 20 trucks supplying them asphalt, that they'll be pretty close to done with South Angel Fire tomorrow. And that's going pretty well. Are there any questions in regards to the paving?
I guess they'll block off that entrance off 434 tomorrow.
Yeah,
For
we'll
South Angel
want to
Fire,
do,
loop around North Angel Fire.
they have been able to work one lane at a time with active traffic control, and have enabled people to go through in an open lane. When they get to the point where they're making the second pass, that's where they've done a full closure, because the asphalt's still hot from the first run in some places. Just so you know, the barriers that cross the creek, where the road crosses the creek there by the library, those ugly K-rails we've been looking at forever, they will be going away. Getting a revised estimate to install barriers, what I'm looking at is a standard DOT option similar to what you see going over the pass to Taos. where in lieu of the rock baskets, they have those kind of barriers. And so I'm hoping if I can get the estimate for that, I can present that at next council. Just so you know, what we're looking at is a scenario of, even though we just put that pavement just over, we'll take that new pavement out and do a full concrete apron over the culverts with the barriers on the side, and ask them to see if they can give us color samples. We'll do the barriers with colored concrete, so they'll be aesthetically pleasing. And hopefully, if all goes well, I can present that at next council meeting. We did have GM Emulsions do a fog seal coat on a couple of our more recent paving projects, one on North Vale and Mammoth, and we also did a fog seal on the San Mateo project that was done a few years ago. Okay. An update in the water department. I'm really excited about this. They at this point have repaired and or replaced 14 fire hydrants that have been unfunctional for, many of them for quite a few years, sadly. And just so happen to have a couple of main driving guys right here, Logan Folks and Jack Crandall. They're on a mission to resolve fire hydrants, and they've been doing a great job. And it is ironic that in our area back here behind Village Hall that we're just now developing as our temporary event center, there's never been anything back there since it was built, and we had to replace one of the fire hydrants because it wasn't working well, so go figure. Any questions on water? Okay. Quick update on a workforce housing project as we now have the go-ahead to move forward. It was the intention to start mowing the property today to get ready for surveying, but it was also CPR training certification day, so we were out some people. So the mowing will start tomorrow. I'll be meeting with the surveyor in the morning to start moving forward with construction staking. We do have 95% drawings from Dennis Engineering right now, so we're ready to go. There's a bit of earthwork that needs to be done prior to the installation of the utilities, but we're gonna get going on that. The geotechnical survey, the drilling of the boreholes for soils testing, they were out there today. They've been putting it off for a few weeks. That was one thing we were waiting on from the environmental study. It was one of the requirements for the environmental study was a geotechnical survey, and it was good to see them be able to get out and do that today. So we're ready to move forward. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is our Fire Chief, Jason Vance.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Manager Weir, Clerk Strickland. For the month of June, we had 41 calls for service for EMS and 15 calls for service for fire. 8 of those were in Eagle Nest. We are full speed on a radio tower project. We asked for a survey this week to identify the corner that we'll be placing that tower in, and we'll be working on getting a quote to erect that new radio tower for our repeater. We have placed the repeater up on the tanks to the west of us on the west slopes. It has improved our communication, but we're hoping to get extended service down into the other side of the canyon, Taos Canyon. By doing that, it is being funded by a grant that we received last year, I believe, or FY23 perhaps. We are also conducting hydrant testing this week, so for the next couple of weeks you can expect to see a crew out opening hydrants, flushing them out, testing their flow. They have authorization to do up to 300 hydrants. Last year we did about just over 100 hydrants, but we need to catch up on previous years where they weren't tested. So by the end of this year we should have every single hydrant in Angel Fire tested within the last 3 years. 5 years is the minimum standard for that. Captain Romo and another crew have returned from deployments down in southern New Mexico. They went out 2 separate 14-day deployments and helped out with firefighting efforts down there in the Gila and have returned successfully. Our defensible space ordinance seems to be getting a lot of popularity and a lot of requests. We have received just over 50 scheduled DSO in total, and we've fulfilled about half of those. Our department update is we're still working on a payment portal. So as of now, we can't collect any pine needles, but we can't. But solid waste is still collecting for those and still charging for those at the previous rate. But until we are able to successfully get a payment portal in place, we won't be able to collect those. And that goes for the same for stripes. I stand for any questions.
Questions for Chief?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And then finally, for staff reports this evening is Airport Director Jeff Gilmer. Airport Director Jeff Gilmer.
Okay, Ms. Shea's not here. Mr. Mayor and Council. Manager Weir, what an interesting 2 weeks. Ms. Yolanda Strickland. We have had just crazy days since for the last month with the Balloon Fest. I want to reiterate, I know Greg's back there. I fully and 100% want to jump up and down and applaud the work of all the people that went out. That guy right there and his team in that blue shirt plowed so much ground and moved so much dirt and parked 400 cars? 800 on Saturday.
800 for
Never been done. Moved dirt to create an area that will be permanent as part of the airport. They all need the planning. Talking with not only the pilots but the lead of the show of the balloon fit, unbelievable. He said it's a completely different level that everything was run at. The chiefs back there, they're a main part of stepping up the level of professionalism of how the organization happened and how things were run. So even though it was all new to them and to us and how we move things around out there, it was all received very well. The following weekend, actually the whole week, we set up and we did kites and gliders and just a lot of little aviation events during the week. And just thinking, okay, this is going to be kind of quiet. No, they're out there. I know Lawrence Davis is out there flying kites with kids. And how many kites do we lose and break and tear up during that week? It was astounding the amount of people that came out. And just, even though it was just a short time during the day, they all came out. They were part of the airport, this new venture for the village. Everybody had a great time, concluding on Saturday. I kind of had dual roles both at the APPO meeting and at the airport. But when I got back to the airport later that afternoon and things were winding down, from the United States Air Force, I had a major who could not stand the fact there was no aviation assets out there and she couldn't wait to get his assets for next year. She's literally saying, no, we're going to get this helicopter and that jet. And which told me that the enthusiasm, the drones, for those folks that we have drone racing and drone expedition out there inside the hangar, it went off so great that we're going to try to actually have a regional drone event for this part of the nation and hold it out there in the future. So another thing there, Brandon, where he's gone, and he ran out the door so he didn't have to hear that. To add to his plate. All in all, what that looked like is the presence of the airport in how it looks right now, the appearance of it, made everybody so happy, but it just lifted up where we're at in things like fuel sales. We've knocked it out of the park, $12,000 by the end of last month, which I wiped the tank out. There's no Jet A out there until yesterday when we had to get a new tank full, 8,000 gallons of gas. So, that equates to the enterprise that this airport is, beginning to reach that goal that we want where we're self-sufficient. That's not going to happen overnight, as you all know, but it will happen. And this is the steps that are gonna get us there. The hangar is full, all the spots are leased out. I will tell you that we're gonna have some news regarding the building of the hangar, which is really a project for the county, but that will come out. But it'll be good because we're looking at, hopefully by this next year, having new doors on the existing hangar that are going on 50 years old now, that need to be replaced. So there'll be some news on that, that will get out. All of that will be helping the status of the airport in the eyes of the pilot community, those who fly in as customers. The one thing that I'll speak to you, the public, and to the commissioners, when I came away from the AFPO meeting, if you all look over in the corner, you'll see that there's green dots all over. That's workforce housing. We had one for the airport. And they said, hey, if you weren't there, put a green dot on what's priority to you. And what was amazing to me, 20 to 1, can we get more air service in there? Can we go to Colorado Springs? Of course, one guy wants to go to Austin, you know, it's all over the place. So everyone was really excited about that. And this afternoon, I met with the FAA inspector engineer for the airport, and part of our discussion is, what can we do out there when the sponsorship is complete to make those green dots happen? And so he was excited about it, and you know, depending on the government financial situation, we'll be working towards that. So a lot of really exciting stuff. I know really no negatives to report, except we had a broken fuel truck, so I couldn't sell more fuel over the 4th of July weekend because my truck was sitting idle with a busted starter over in the corner, but that will be taken care of tomorrow. The new starter comes in, so employees are doing great. Everybody's happy. I think that's probably all I got. I'll stand for some questions.
One thing I didn't hear you mention, didn't you have some movies out there as well?
I'm sorry, yes, the nightly movies, which, you know, I'm sorry, I was a little suspect. I think that was the hit of the week. I don't know how many people they had on the Saturday night for Top Gun, but the place was packed out and everybody was having a ball. And the drone guys were in there flying around too, so, yes. So, Up, the movie Up, Planes 2, all these wonderful family movies. And they just sat on the hangar floor and ate popcorn and drank cold drinks and watched these movies. So thank you for reminding me of that.
Thank you, Director. I appreciate you for all you've done for the airport, so.
We're trying.
That's it. Okay, that's it for staff reports. We'll move on to new business. Item A, I'd like to open discussion to approve an application for the FY26 New Mexico Fire Protection Grant. Chief Vance.
Evening again. Mayor, members of council, Manager Weir, Clerk Strickland. Fiscal year 26 fire protection grant is due for application. It should open probably next week. It was going to open July 1, but it was delayed a couple of weeks. But our fiscal 25 application for $600,000 last year was not awarded. Since then, we've established eligibility. We have attended a grant council educational session in this past May in Raton to better understand our dynamics of that application. Our plan is to articulate the need for our request of a $600,000 towards the new Fire Station 1 build. We also have the collaboration with Rocky Lira on board now, so I think his expertise will be needed in writing this grant application. So yeah, with that being said, I recommend that we approve the fire department's participation in the state of New Mexico's fiscal year 26 fire protection grant. I stand for any questions.
If no further questions, discussion, I'd ask Mayor Pro Tem Howe to make a motion.
I make a motion to approve the application for the fiscal year 26 New Mexico Fire Protection Grant.
I'll second.
Roll call vote on item A. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
and Counselor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item B, I'd like to open discussion to approve the Veterans Health and Wellness and Healing Center purchase and sale agreement. Mr. Lira.
Hello. Mayor Lindsay, members of the council, Manager Ware, Clerk Strickland. What you have in front of you is the kind of preliminary work to start a project with the Veterans Wellness and Healing Center. And so what you have in front of you right there is a draft purchase and sale of the land agreement between the Village of Angel Fire and the Veterans Wellness and Healing Center. So today we're asking if we can approve that moving forward.
So, do you want to speak to Manager Weir? Yeah, Manager Weir.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, we were approached several months ago by the leadership at the Veterans Wellness Center. They have received an appropriation of $1.2 million from the legislature, and there were some conditions on that. Appropriations that required the appropriation to be distributed to a government agency. They approached me and asked if the village would be interested in accepting this. Technically it's a sale, but effectively it's a donation of the land that is currently owned by the Veterans Wellness and Healing, and so that they could receive that $1.2 million so that that money could be invested in the development of the land on behalf of the Healing Center. So after some discussions and some legal intervention, we went and discussed how this would happen, what are the legalese. Our lawyers did all the research. By the way, not this one, but the next one, the lease option, will be required to be approved by DFA. So your approval will allow us to send it to DFA, but it's not going to be finalized until they approve it. So the idea is that they donate us the land. We're now the owners of the land. We can accept the appropriation, and then we lease the land back to them so that they can operate the Veterans Wellness and Healing, Wellness and Healing Center, and much as they have now for, I don't know how many, over a decade.
16 years.
16 years. I think because of the importance that the Veterans Wellness has to our community, and the fact that we will gain benefit out of it, because right now the Veterans Wellness and Healing Center is having to go out of county, actually, in order to perform the services they offer to our veterans. We are not participating in the GRT or anything. The community is not getting full participation, and I believe that this 1.2 million investment, which is just step one in their plans for development, will actually bring those dollars back into our community. And so financially, I think it's going to benefit our community to support them in this endeavor. And again, I think it's just another form of partnership that we can get involved in, with the local people that drive visitors to our community. I would like to state that there is one change that needs to be amended in this purchase agreement. If you go down to paragraph 4, or title 4, I guess, paragraph A, it states that the appraisal is $4,700,000. That's actually what the estimated appraisal will be after the development of the center. The actual appraisal amount of the property that we'll be accepting is $550,000. It's just the 2 appraisals were submitted along with the paperwork to legal counsel, and they were confused on which one to incorporate there. And I just thought I would make it an amendment tonight instead of sending it back to council to make a simple change like that.
Mr. Manager, if I could, additionally, turn over 2 pages to page 4, which would be paragraph or chapter 7. There's an additional place on the appraisal.
Oh, you're correct. So my recommendation is to accept the sale / donation with the amendments of the value of the property being $550,000.
So when you say sales / donation, you're saying it's because the sales price is $10?
That's right. It is technically legally a sale, which is what it's required to be. It's just that when you think about it, if you say they sold it to us, I mean, they're selling it to us for $10, so effectively it's a donation.
I have a question. Attachment A, there was a site plan from the appraisal, which I don't see, but it also had attachment B, existing buildings, 15 cabins, meeting hall. The 15 cabins, meeting hall, is that the development that we're
That's
going
what's
to
gonna be developed. You're right. That was the confusion of legal counsel. They saw that second appraisal, they didn't realize that that had not been developed yet. But that is the plan for development that was disclosed to us. And that's, the $1.2 million will not be enough to do the full development, and it'll get them started. And then, as you may be aware, we did have them on our ICIP for future appropriations and grants and so on to help them with the further development of the property.
My role will be to coordinate the activities in the development of that on the property.
There's no further discussion. I'd ask Mayor Pro Tem Howe to make a motion on the amendment.
Mr. Mayor, point of order. I do believe that, I'm sorry, I should have said this, Chuck, because your association with the Veterans Wellness and Healing, I think you'll need to abstain, and it would probably be more appropriate to have another councilman make the motion.
Okay. I'm no longer on the board, but I was.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So my mistake. If you're not on the board, then you can participate.
Okay.
My fault.
So I make a motion to approve the Veterans Health and Wellness and Healing Center purchase and sale agreement with the amendment of paragraph 4A and 7A, moving or switching from $4.7 million to $550,000.
Second.
Roll call vote on item B. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Councilor Crane,
Aye.
Councilor Weeks,
Aye.
and Councilor Humbert.
Aye.
Motion passed with amendments.
Okay, I'd like to open item C for discussion. Approve the Veterans Health and Wellness and Healing Center lease agreement. Mr. Lear.
So as you heard from Manager Weir, the next step after this would be to coordinate and negotiate a lease agreement between the Village of Angel Fire and the Veterans Healing Center. And what you have in front of you is a draft of that document.
Manager Weir.
So, Mr. Mayor, Council, yes, this is a 20-year lease with an option to renew, so effectively a 40-year lease, which is about as much as we can lease public property for now that the property belongs to the village. There are some additions that I would like to make to this that again came a little late in the game, but if you will turn to Article 3, which is, I believe it's on the 4th page, Article 3.
Fifth.
Okay, so for me it's on the. There is an addition to section 3.2 language that I would like to add, and I'll provide this to the Mayor Pro Tem. after I read it. But additional language, it says the leasee has first right to renew the lease. This language will ensure that future administrations don't decide to lease the land to somebody else. It's just a little extra language to assure that this property is leased and operated by the Veterans Wellness Center. If there's no questions about that, I'm also going to ask to add a fourth section to Article 3, which is in relation to the sale of the property or potential sale. And so section 3.4 will read, if the village decides to sell the property, the leasee will have first right to purchase the property. Additionally, the property will not be sold during the lease period. So what that does is it says, while it's being leased, we can't sell it. So the only time we can sell it would be at the end of the first lease. If there was not a renewal and then we decided to sell the property, the Wellness Center would have first right of refusal to actually purchase the property if we put it up for sale.
There's no further questions or discussion. I'd ask Mayor Pro Tem Howe to make a motion on the amended, with the amendments.
To make a motion to approve the Veterans Health and Wellness and Healing Center lease agreement with the following amendments. In Article 3, Section 3.2, I would like to add the leasee has first right to renew the lease, and adding additional paragraph 3.4, if the village decides to sell the property, the leasee will have first right to purchase the property. The property will not be sold during the lease period.
I'll second.
Roll call vote on item C. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Councilor Crane,
Aye.
Councilor Weeks,
Aye.
and Councilor Humbert.
Mr. Mayor, could we recognize all the members in the audience that have supported the Wellness Center
Yes, sir.
and the Wellness Board as well?
Of course, if you'd like to introduce them, please.
I'd ask them to stand, there's so many.
Yeah. Thank you guys for being here this evening.
There's another one back there that didn't stand. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Motion with modifications passed.
Finally, this evening, agenda item D, discussion action items. I'd like to open for discussion to approve a full-time position to the Parks and Recreation Department and dropping one part-time position. Manager Weir.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council Director Tibulis was not able to attend due to a family issue. But and I asked this to come to council because the decision to do this was made after the interim budget was submitted. So this change is not reflected in the approved interim budget. But when we were going over the hours of operation, now that we're back to a position where we can reopen the community center, we previously had a part-time, or two part-times, the director and one other full-time. And in order to assure that the building is open as much as possible, certainly as advertised, and maybe even to allow us to open the building a little bit more to the public, we determined that it would be worthwhile to eliminate one of the part-time positions and convert it into a full-time position. So the whole goal of this additional expense is to provide greater access and assure we have access. Just what kind of brought this up is we had Scenario generally on the weekends was handled by 2 part-time people, and we had a day in which neither of the part-time people could make it to attend on that day, and our only option was, at that point, was to shut down the building, which I was not in favor of. And so I went to the director and I said, how do we make sure this doesn't happen again? We went through all the numbers, all the schedules, and this is the best solution that we could come up to try and prevent us not be able to open a building during our standard times that are advertised.
No further discussion. I'd ask Mayor Pro Tem Howe to make a motion.
I make a motion to approve a full-time position to the Parks and Recreation Department and dropping a one part-time position.
Second.
Roll call vote on item D. Mayor Pro Tem Howe,
Aye.
Counselor Crane,
Aye.
Counselor Weeks,
Aye.
and Counselor Humber.
Aye.
Motion passed.
And finally, this evening, we do have our manager's report.
Mr. Mayor, yes, I just want to again give it full accolades to my team that pulled off so far 3 weeks of increased activity here in Angel Fire, and not only increased activity in events for our residents to attend, but also, I mean, we don't have the numbers yet because they're 30 days in arrears, but we're fully anticipating increased GRT and increased lodger's tax revenue because of these efforts. It, and no question, was a full team effort. Everybody was on board, everybody participated. We even had people working parking that are director level people working just to get people parked during the balloon event. So I want to thank them all and I want to recognize them, but I really do think that special recognition needs to be given to Director Ralph. I will tell you, the Balloons Week, even though Balloons is a long time event, actually with a little bit of prodding from Councilman Weeks, who was ideal, was to have the kites event. And then that just evolved under the direction of Director Ralph into a week-long event related to different air events in the movies and all of that. So it's a new standard for the village. And another thing that Director Ralph needs credit for, although again, we all participated, it wouldn't have happened without Director Epler's staff out there leveling the ground and developing the parking lots and coordinating those efforts and helping with the stage and the tent and bringing all that up. But, Brandon Prather and Director Ralph both have been working out. I'm sure they got a little bit of sleep, but they've been awake working on this as long as I was awake or around. So they put in numerous hours these past several weeks to make sure that these events were pulled off successfully. And I think, my family's been here since the late 70s. I would say this is the most successful tourist-based events that this village has experienced in my recollection, which goes really back to 1972. So anyhow, just special thanks to them and really kudos to everybody. And it was a true example of teamwork. Everybody pitched in, everybody contributed, and I can't tell you how proud I am of that. So with that said, we do have a lot more coming. We have the workforce housing that's getting started. That's very exciting. Just so you know, we do have some challenges we're going to have to overcome, and we are having a special meeting. I asked for a special meeting next week in order to discuss those challenges with workforce housing with the council. And so number one, you understand what all's going on. It was a little bit more in detail than I wanted to present in this meeting. but we will be looking to you for some direction on how to move forward. We are also in full throttle development of a new event center that we hope to start construction next summer. We've got the primary funding for that established, and now we need to get the architecture done and go out and find a contractor to do it. The same scenario with fire station. They're a little bit further advanced because the architecture's primarily done. We anticipate starting, and we're doing the site work on that in-house, we anticipate starting on that as soon as Director Epler gives us the green light to get started in preparing the site work for the new fire station. I would like to report to you, I'm on the committee for the health clinic. Right now, within the committee, there is the predominant way we're moving is to building a new health clinic within the square area. And even though it's not a final, it hasn't gone to the commission yet for approval, it's looking like that's going to be the recommendation of the committee to build a new location within the square. So we're doing a lot of work on that, and I think I covered everything. With that said, I stand for, or I sit for questions.
No questions from Manager Weir. This meeting is adjourned.
Recording stopped.